Hello, this is Star Fuentes, and today we're going to be talking about divine grace. And when I think about grace, I think about a dancer. I think about the dance of energy and a human, the dance of earth and energy. You know, sometimes you have to lead and sometimes you have to follow. So, grace is the strongest universal law we have. The law of grace is the only universal law that negates karma. And for many of us, grace is an obtuse word. It's out there with a ballerina, it's out there with someone moving gracefully across the stage. And to kind of bring it home to you, I want to talk about grace being an energy. So the first thing I want to say about grace is whether you're leading or following the dance with spirit, it is easy. It is a flow of energy. It guides you gently forward without pushing you and gives you enough resistance for you to pay attention. So when we move through life with the flow, many coincidences happen. All the lights are green. Everything synchronizes to let us flow through gently, easily, and quickly. And we are aware we're connected to Source, we're connected to Earth, we're paying attention to the whole of our body and as it is in the universal consciousness. Now, let's look at it from a physical standpoint. I may not have the grace of a ballerina. I may not be able to dance smoothly across the stage. But no matter how hard I try, I can't get out of the dance of spirit and energy, my body, my thoughts, my minds, and ease and comfort of all those things being together. So I'll start with the physical plane. Well, the moment I bump my knee, the moment I drop something, I have this big moment of awareness that tells me, Star, you're not in divine grace. You are not paying attention to what Spirit wants, what your path is, and consciousness to what is going on, because you just dropped a book. You walked into a table. It's been in the same place for 10 years. So stop when you get those signs on the physical plane and bring yourself gently and easily, and that's the key words, gently and easily, to what happened. You were holding on to the book and you were thinking about something in the future. You were holding on to the book and you were thinking about something in the past. Bring yourself back to now and let divine grace be with you. And physically, when books interrupt your life, it's easy to move on. But sometimes the physical interruptions aren't that easy. Go in the kitchen, you pick up an egg, and boom, it drops on the floor. What a nice sign that I'm not paying attention, but I gotta clean it up. I gotta get a sponge. I gotta get a paper towel. I gotta bend down. So, as I'm bending down and I'm wiping up the egg, do I let this state of ungrace overwhelm me? Does my mental body follow my physical body into a state where there is no grace? So do I start saying negative things like, oh, you're so clumsy. Well, that's a good start to the day. Ooh, why did this happen to me? All this stuff. Do I get into a victim momentum? Do I get into a martyr momentum? Do I start the inevitable spiral of criticizing myself all day long and start that spiral going downward? Do I gently and easily bend over with a paper towel, pick up the egg, get the sponge and wipe the egg off and say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, energy, for making me pay attention to what I'm doing? You know, there are moments when we dance with the universe. There are moments when we dance with consciousness that aren't very graceful. We've never been to this energy before. We haven't encountered this space before. Or it's kind of like line dancing and everybody's doing the same thing and you haven't learned the steps. And as you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally grow, there will be moments where you have to let Spirit lead and you follow. And those moments are difficult. All of us want to be in charge of our life. All of us want to ask and receive. And many times we ask for something. Our energy isn't at a place where it can receive it. So we get to do a very specific dance, maybe with receiving, maybe with learning what to ask for and when to ask for it before the grace manifests itself. You know, they have all sorts of things in sports they call muscle memory. And if you serve a tennis ball or a volleyball X number of times, you stop thinking about it. And your muscles have the memory, and they can do that tennis serve or that volleyball serve in a state of grace. But it doesn't happen the first time. Yes, sometimes it might, but there'll be moments and experiences that you start out with a different energy from that experience. And you must blend in some way, shape, or form, however you do it. Some of us blend physically first. Some of us need to know mentally all the steps to the dance before we can even take that first step to be in a state of divine grace. And some of us have to feel our way through the process to become graceful. Divine grace is a state that comes and goes. I have yet to see anybody consistently in a state of divine grace. So just take a breath and let's look at your life. Let's feel your life. Listen to the thoughts in your mind. Now tell me, what area in life do you need more divine grace? Well, let's figure out what that is. Let's say, for example, you're not a good cook. Well, you haven't cooked that much. Or every time you cook something, somebody always criticizes you. So you think that everything you cook is not in a state of grace. So what can we do? Well, first of all, we can get to know cooking, and we could read some simple, basic cooking books. We could have somebody show us so we could get the feel of it. And we could also watch the 1 zillion gazillion cooking shows we have on TV today, one at a time, from many different aspects. And all All of those things are good things to do, but the most important thing to be in divine grace with what you can't do is to start doing it. You know, the weight of the pan, the weight of the knife, the way things look and feel as you cook will soon take on a energy memory of its own. From the very smell of a bread or cake, you can tell that it's done baking. From the texture on the top of a soup or gravy, you can tell that it's perfect. But these things come with experience and paying attention to the dance. One of my teachers once said that the relationship you have with your significant other is the same relationship you have with God. And I was like, that can't be true. Of course that can't be true. I mean, I love God, and whatever it is. But I noticed that my dance with my mate, that the state of grace with my mate, depends upon the both of us. It's just not me loving and worshiping him and being so cool and compromising. It depends on both of us. And in your relationships, be it with friends, be it with your mate, be it with strangers, your dance of grace shows up. Do you ignore the waitresses? Oh, yeah, give me this, give me that. Do you ask them for their name? Do you have a relationship? The state of divine grace is about everything outside of you being God and everything inside of you being God. So I know my waitress's name. I might not remember it, but I surely have asked it. And as I relate to strangers and relate to my friends, I remember that it is a dance. And sometimes I lead, and sometimes I follow. For me, the hardest thing this lifetime was getting a hold of this. And this, the dance of grace in my head, was very, very important. Because that is my inner being. That is my intuition. That is my higher self or lower self. So having thoughts that take me in that downward spiral. I'm never going to do this right. All this is so hard. I've tried this 100 times. Just makes the dance to you so much harder that you come to a stop. You walk out of the kitchen and you never want to cook anything again. Or you leave a relationship and you say stupid things like, there are no good men out there. How come I can't ever find a good man? And you create your own reality. The upward spiral is much more interesting, much more difficult to work with. Oh, I can do better than this. I wasn't paying attention. Where was I? I was on the next dish. I'm going to stay on this dish right now. I'm going to stay in my relationship where we're having a little bit of a struggle, where we're having an argument, where we're perfect, where the energy is great. So the upward spiral creates the possibilities and the knowing that things will get better. And when you start this spiral, you invite divine grace into your life, into your relationship, and into your universal energy, into your paradigm. Hey, I've been doing metaphysics for 50 years, and I'm going to tell you, this is not an all-time thing. I have never, maybe once, well, maybe not, come to think of it, spent a whole day in divine grace. I'm connected to God, I'm connected to earth, I'm a radiant, beautiful being, and boom, somebody says something with an angry voice to me, and my head jerks up, and I get all defensive. Okay, I can bring myself back to grace. Am I here to heal that? Am I here to listen to that? Is that something that I need to look at in myself? I don't want to fight that person. I don't want to be in a state of resistance. I imagine that the dance of life, that the dance of grace is a spiral moving upward in higher and higher energies. And in some places in that spiral, we move very slowly, like a little turtle, like molasses in January, and that's okay. And sometimes we get things so quickly. We have an aha, and boom, 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 boom. Mental, emotional, physical, spiritual plane comes into divine grace. And we stay there till the next lesson, till the next blessing comes along. And we get to choose from free will whether we resist divine grace, whether we fight the resistance, whether we flow with the resistance. Do we lead or do we dance? So, when we look at the bigger picture and we look at our lineage and mom and dad and all of our grandparents, and we see the divine dance of grace includes cancer in half of our lineage. And we become conscious enough to know that sooner or later, my body may dance with cancer. My body may dance with a heart attack. If you've had 3 or 4 people in your family have a heart attack. In the dance of divine grace, you see this a decade out. You start with your preventative medicine. You start knowing that age of 60 where 6 family members got sick is an age for you to start preparing for right now. And being conscious of right now. You can look at your aunts, your uncles, your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, and you can see the very things that they did do to stay in divine grace, and the very things they did not do to stay in divine grace. And sometimes it takes a very keen eye to see the big picture, to see the years of them overworking, the years of them rescuing their children and denying themselves, to see their resistance to something. Because sometimes when you look at the moment, all that exists is divine energy. But if you look at the dance of divine grace in their life, how they were graceful, and what kept them out of the dance of divine grace, you will see, feel, and know how your divine grace needs to unfold, how you need to prepare, educate yourself. You know, what causes a heart attack? What causes a stroke? What nutrients? What ways of being? What lifestyle do people not have strokes, do not have heart attacks in? And the dance of grace becomes something that is bigger than your whole life. Divine grace is your lineage. It's that DNA that each of us is born into to improve, to lift those genes to a vibratory rate where we don't have to have cancer in our lineage anymore, where we're conscious of our dance. And some of us have ran through hell and high water, but we certainly weren't dancing through it. And when you're conscious enough to know that you are out of grace and to bring that grace back to you gently, easily, and quickly. And I'm going to go back to the one thing most of us learned and are sick of hearing is pay attention to your breath. Wait, that wasn't a big enough inhale, so maybe I'm not receiving enough. Pay attention to your thoughts. Where in your body right now are you feeling when you're not in a state of grace? And do you go into a state of grace and not even acknowledge it? You're kind of there and you're like, cool, great, I'm happy, everything's cool. You don't say, yeah, Spirit, Earth, this is the state of grace. All the lights are turning green. Everything is flowing perfectly for me. Acknowledge that with gratitude. And keep yourself open the moment you bump into things, the moment you drop something, the moment books fly off your shelf and you haven't even touched them. In these moments, instead of asking why, ask yourself how. How do I get back into a state of grace? And do it. It's not important whether you're leading or following. It's not important whether it's spirit or earth you're dancing with. It's so important to be in that now time and to stay in that flow. Divine grace is a blessing, but also it's a birthright. You're being born into this body, soul into a body with emotions and many, many tools and experiences to teach you. It is a birthright of yours to have it. Can you claim it? Can you show gratitude for it? And most of all, can you sustain it? And 50 years of working, and I don't think I go through a whole 24 hours sustaining divine grace. I've had moments and days on vacations, but when I'm in real life experiences, when I'm out in the real world, answering the phone, when I'm in relationship with my husband, with my dear friends, with waitresses and my dear employees, they are all teachers to you, teachers to me. And they teach me to stay in a state of divine grace. They teach me not to be right. They teach me to stay with the flow, not to resist my way or the highway, not to resist, to listen openly to what the universe, my body, my friends, and the planet has to say to me. When you get a chance, I'd like you to find all 105 universal laws and read the universal law of divine grace. No, I'm not going to do it for you. I want you to look it up so you will memorize it. You will see how powerful it is. So take a deep breath. Notice your body. Notice your light. Notice your energy. Give yourself just a little smile. And notice how sometimes that half smile can pull things automatically into divine grace. Frown, make a face, judge, be angry. Now feel all those energies run me to stick my forehead up and my chin out to fight the world. Smile. Go back into a state of divine grace. And search for that state in the commotion of life, in your loving relationship with God, your source, in all of your relationships, and most importantly, in how you speak to yourself. Because each thought is a prayer. Your body believes every word that you think. So bring yourself back to divine grace and know that divine grace is one of the most powerful teachers we have. It will teach you with synchronicity or the lack of synchronicity. It will teach you with your body. You know, if you're not in divine grace, the universe will whisper, then it will scream, and then it will give you a wake-up call. And that could be a broken hip, a broken bone. It could be God knows what. So seek divine grace over and over again. Remember the breath. And most importantly, you really can't be too much out of divine grace. With that half little smile that spreads from your lips through your face into your heart, your mind almost stops using words. And you're one with God, one with earth, and you are totally blessed with divine grace. Take a moment. Find out your buttons. What takes you out of divine grace? Hey, somebody cutting you off in your card? A TV show where somebody speaks their opinion? Friends who don't walk their talk? Make a list of all the things, energies, that take you out of divine grace. Take the list, throw it in the trash, burn it, get rid of it, and keep that here and here. So when it happens again, you will learn that you can't do anything about it happening, but you can do everything about how you react to it. A little smile, divine grace, physical universe teaches me flow, shows me with synchronicity. Drop my egg, I'm not paying attention. This is your life. This is your dance. You can lead or you can follow. And please stay in divine grace, for it is your birthright.